To Breakfast with Amy. I am Amy at Wise Monkey Quilting in Denison, Iowa, and you can find me here almost every Friday morning at 8 o'clock. Yesterday we had our monthly strip club, which features our local quilters showing off what they've been working on, so we move it to Saturday on that week. And then don't forget to watch us every Tuesday evening at 7 o'clock for Treat Yourself Tuesday for a fun-filled shopping show. So today we are doing the Twister Pole Table Runner. Isn't that cute? So super easy. You will wonder why you haven't made this before. I am going to show you just how easy it is to make this table runner. Plus, you're in for a treat because I'm also going to give you some other things that you can do like this. So is anyone joining me for breakfast this morning?
Well, I'm going to start off with Adeline because she says hi, Grandma.
Good morning, Addie.
Good morning, Addie.
Have a wonderful day.
And we have...
You're up early on a Saturday morning.
We have Debbie checking in along with Susan, Colleen, Peg, Jane, Karen, Stacy, Lori and Lisa, Barb, Kathy, Jane, Julie and Donna. Karen, Steve says greetings to one and all.
Good morning.
Him and usually they must have been in sync today because Steve and Carol, husband and wife, were right behind each other with greetings
so
this
they're
morning.
sitting on the couch together watching our show.
So good morning, Karen. Janice and Jerry are watching this morning along with Lisa. Says she loves that table runner. Hi, Brenda and Connie and Deb, Victor.
Good morning.
Along with Cindy, Sherry, Rosella, Linda, Catherine, Ray. Addie says she's been up since 6 o'clock. So.
Oh my! Well, what a good start to your day.
Hi, Peggy, Georgina, Kathy, Jean, Pam, Mary, along with Judy and Diane and Deborah so far.
Well, good morning, everyone. Yes, this is a really easy pattern, but I love making patterns that your friends are going to look at when it's displayed, whether it's sitting on your coffee table or however, and they're going to go, "Wow, how did you make that?" I love doing patterns like that. This is a super easy pattern, and I'm going to show you how to do it. The table runner that I made is about 17 inches by 48 inches. If you don't want it that long, you can easily make it shorter by just, you can take off one, you can take off two, however you want to do it to make the length that you need. So it's a great one to do however you want for your size.
Good. I just continue here quickly before we get going. Hi, Sue, Beth Ann, Nancy, Phyllis, Connie, Lori. It was nice seeing you and Steve yesterday. And
thanks
Steve,
for coming down.
If you're in the background there, thanks for the goodies yesterday. Jolene, Sharon, Colleen. Colleen's wondering if Addie sews. Not yet.
But she has said that she's going to come down. She wants me to help her sew together a pillowcase. Mm-hmm. And we're going to work on and maybe she's still watching, where we're going to tie-dye some fabric, which Addie's helping me do it, and then we might turn that into a class for everyone to do that. So that's coming up on one of my projects.
Hi, Carol, April, Marge, Susan, and I think that's most everyone. If I missed somebody, I apologize. But good morning, one and all, and welcome to the weekend.
Good morning. Yeah, welcome to the weekend. A beautiful Saturday morning. A little crisp here in Iowa this morning. We were celebrating some warm temperatures. In fact, was it Thursday? We had a record high in Omaha, which is not too far away from us. But now we're down into our normal temperatures again. So this morning, the temperature in western Iowa is, let me find out, runners.
Beth Ann says she likes her runners just a little bit longer and wider. That way she has a rusty file cabinet in her office.
Oh, very good. And yeah, it's always nice to be able to make a table runner to fit your space. So it's great if you can make it a little smaller. I don't know what the temperature is because my phone's not telling me this morning. So, oh
It's
well.
probably somewhere in the 20s this morning.
Okay. So the reason this is so easy to do is this is your row. So see how that's the row right there? And all this is half square triangles. That's it. This is your block. This is your row. And I'm going to show you how to do this very quickly using the strip tube ruler. If you were watching on Thursday morning for AA and the AM, we were doing the Quilter's House block. And I showed how you can square a block and make it the right size by using the strip tube ruler. So there are two sizes of strip tube rulers, and we're going to have them on this morning, but I'm going to show you how easy this is to make all these half square triangles super quick. So before I get to that, we do have other fabric bundles. So if you want this pattern, I have it at $5.99. You can get the pattern. It tells you size-wise to cut. It tells you exactly how to press your seams. It shows you how to put it together. And you can get the pattern from me for $5.99, sold 100. So you would have to buy your pattern first. Now I know there was a couple comments last night. Maybe you already have the pattern. Great, there you go. You can watch me and I will give you hints on how to do that. And then I have some fabric bundles that if you don't want it, this one has Valentine's hearts. If you look at your pole, and then the fabric has Valentine hearts on it. Then what I did was I took what I used for my pole in for my first border and then brought in a color for my border. So we have a bundle for you. If you like the Valentine's one, you're gonna get fabric for the pole, your first border, your binding, for going the twister around your pole, and for your background. So you're gonna get all 4 fabrics for $19.99. So you'll have everything you need to make your table runner this size, the 17 by 48. If you want to make it smaller, you'll just have a little bit of leftover fabric. So that one is sold 101 hearts. Then I thought this is, if you want something to kind of bring in your summer, and maybe you have, to display all summer long, this one with this turquoise and blue and green, super pretty. And what's nice about these fabric bundles, I'm picturing the pole in this dark and then this going around my pole. But if you don't want that, you can switch it up. You have enough fabric that maybe you want this as your pole and this going around. You can do that. You will have enough fabric to switch them out and do them however you want them in your table runner. So this one is called green. So sold 101 green.
Okay, got a quick question
Sure.
here. Is there enough to starch the fabric in the kits?
Enough to starch the fabric?
Yeah. Can you spray starch? I'm guessing spray starch it and that won't shrink.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Good morning, Martha. Bacon, hash browns, and eggs. So
Martha.
Let's
all go to Martha's house for breakfast.
And I know when some of you started purchasing here, I probably missed some good morning comments. So I apologize for that, but good morning to one and all.
Good morning. I also have, and we have 5 different fabric bundles this morning. If your color is purple, I've got you covered. Here is a purple one. If you've noticed, if you've been following along with me on Sew Along with Amy on Wednesdays, this is that In the Beginnings Jason Yenter fabric that I have been using on the Sew Along. So if you want to use this as your table runner and make a beautiful purple one, we have that sold 101 purple. And then another one for spring. This one is really pretty. It's a turquoise with flowers, and I'm just calling this one Flowers. So what I'm visualizing is, here's your background with your white. These two would be your pole. So whichever one you want, one is your pole, one goes around your pole, and then this would be your border. But you can switch the fabric out. Maybe you want this as your pole, this going around your pole. However you want it, however you see it and you want it, you can change up the fabric however you want. We're giving you enough. So this one is sold 101 Flowers.
And Susan, no, the kit does not include the pattern today.
Right. You will need to buy the pattern for the $5.99 because there are other patterns of this floating around, and if you already have it, you won't need it.
And if you wanted just the, maybe you want to make a couple of different ones, and then we don't have to include the price in all of them. So.
Right, right. Oh, and I forgot to mention this morning, $5 flat rate shipping, unless you buy $25 or more, and then your shipping is free. So if you buy a pattern and a fabric bundle, you're already at free shipping. And our last one this morning, I know we've brought this on before, but it is so pretty, and it goes with so many decor for your house. So this one is called Daisy. So you could do the green pole with the black daisy going around it, and then this as your border, or however you want. You can switch them around. So this one is sold 101 Daisy. So 5 colorways for you this morning, whatever works for you for your decor or however you want to do it. Okay, so we do have 2 different sizes of strip tube rulers. The first one is the junior, which is the one I'm going to be using this morning. You can cut up to 6-inch half square triangles with it. You can also, Wednesday when we were sewing our half square triangles, we were using this to make it the correct size, so up to 6 inches. It is $25.95 for the strip tube junior. So many uses for this, and once I show you how to do all of this half square triangles, you're gonna want one if you don't already have one. So that one is $25.95, sold 102. Then there is a bigger one. This is the original strip tube ruler. This one you can go all the way up to 9-inch half square triangles. And there is a pattern on the back that I'm actually going to show you how to do it. So this one, if you have the big one, you don't need the little one because this one is part of that. This one is what I'm using this morning, which will do it. But here is your big one, $28.95 for the strip tube ruler, sold 103. And it's always nice when you are using these rulers. I'm going to be cutting around both sides. So I did put on some new replacement blades this morning. When you're doing this, it's always nice to have a fresh blade on because it really does help when you're cutting. And it makes it a lot easier to cut. And second, you're less apt to slip and cut yourself if you have a new fresh blade on. So I have 2 different ones this morning. The first one I have is a titanium blades. There's a 3-pack. Titaniums last a little longer than your other blades. 3-pack is, we have it on sale. In our store, it's listed at $24.99. We have it at $19.99 this morning. So if you want a 3-pack of titanium blades, it's sold $104. And then we have the same price for, these are the normal 45 millimeter Quilter Select blades for $19.99, but this one is 5. So you get 5 of the regular replacement blades for $19.99. Sold $105.
And it's so much easier on your wrist and arm and elbow when you don't have to press hard on your rotary cutter. It just and it also saves your cutting mat.
Yes, if you keep a fresh blade on your rotary cutter, it'll keep your mat longer. And I hear that so often. I didn't even realize how dull it was till I put a new one on, and then it's like going through butter. Really is true. And when we're all said and done this morning, well, before we're done, so this is how I found out about the strip tube ruler, is from Cozy Quilt Designs. Daniela Stout was the originator of Cozy Quilts, and she has since passed, but her daughter-in-law has taken over Cozy Quilt Designs. And this is a perfect pattern. She has several patterns that use the strip tube ruler. And this is a perfect pattern if you're, if you don't want to buy a ruler and then think it's one and done. This is not a one and done ruler. She has several patterns that use this. And I am going to show you how to cut the blocks to make this quilt. So I thought I'd bring it on this morning and show you. If you're looking for a new quilt pattern, you like the strip tube ruler, this one's perfect. It's called Ideal Cut. In the pattern, it includes sizes all the way from a baby, lap, throw, twin, queen, or king. You can make any size of quilt you want from this pattern, and it uses the strip tube ruler. So Ideal Cut is $9. Sold $106. All right, well, let's start sewing, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to make half square triangles using this ruler. So the first thing that we're going to do is cut strips. So when you get your fabric, you're going to cut strips. And I'm going to use my green as my pole. And then this black with the little flowers is going to be my twister around the pole. And then, if you notice, so you need half square triangles of your pole and your twister. You also need half square triangles of your background and your twister. So I'm going to do a background and my twister and my pole and my twister. So I have strips of each of those. I'm going to go to my machine and I'm going to put them right sides together, my entire strip. I'm going to sew a 1/4 inch down this side, all the way down this side. And then I'm going to sew a 1/4 inch all the way down the other side and make it like a tube. And if you have, which I don't, but I'm going to switch. If you have a 1/4 inch foot with a side guide on your machine, so here is my 1/4 inch foot and it has a little side guide. If you have a FOF machine, we can get this for you, just call us. And then it is so easy just to run your fabric right along that side guide, and you hardly even need to pay close attention when you're sewing.
Good morning, Kelly. She says that she's had these rulers for a long time and she's looking for a project to use them for.
There you go.
Sherry says Cozy Quilt Designs are fun.
They are great patterns.
Daniela was one of the first designers that Amy introduced me to, and she was a joy to be around. Nothing short of that. Always knew you, always was friendly to you, and gone way before her time, but she's one of them that would certainly draw you into the quilting lifestyle if there ever was anybody. So thank you, Daniela, for she was there when we were getting started. That's how we started strip club.
That is right. She is the reason that we started strip club. So I've sewn my 1/4 inch down one side. I'm just going to turn it around, and now I'm going to go back the other way, sewing a 1/4 inch. Really quick and easy.
Elaine, yes, we do have Pfaff bobbins here, so let us know which ones you need, and we can get those to you. But yes, and actually, after I think about it, if it's the machine that I'm thinking of, I know we have them for you, so just let us know and we can get those out to you. Colleen says she's working on a quilt now that she's using the strip tube.
Oh, very good.
Good morning, Diane. Bonnie, good morning. She said sorry she overslept.
Oh, not a problem.
And
you know, you can always go back and watch from the beginning afterwards.
And Tina says, good morning from Louisiana. Mardi Gras season has begun.
Oh, yes, already. It seems early, but that is true. So I sewed a 1/4 inch on both sides. See how it kind of makes it a tube? Because you have both sides. I'm going to do the same thing with my other strips, which is my pole and then the twister. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put my strips together, right sides together, and I'm going to sew a 1/4 inch down both sides.
Elaine, we will get that put into your cart shortly here after the show. Elaine just put beer bread in the oven.
Ooh, the house is going to smell so good.
And she added a can of apple pie filling. That sounds really good.
Really?
Donna says, love Daniela Stout, miss her so much. Lori's wondering, do the instructions include measurements for that ruler?
Yes. I'm almost done with the first side. See how easy this is? This is a great one that maybe you're going to retreat, but you don't want to think too hard. This would be a great one for that.
And Sandra says, good morning. She's headed to Louisiana for a boat and RV show.
Oh, fun. Buy a big boat or buy a big RV, whichever one you're looking for.
What is the width of the ruler?
What is the what?
Width of the ruler.
Well, if you're going this way, it is on the small one 9 inches, on the big one about 13.5. The small one can cut up to a 6-inch half square triangle, and the big one can cut up to a 9-inch half square triangle.
Good morning, Cindy. Sandra says they're trying to spend the kids' inheritance on a new RV.
Very good. Good luck on your search today. Hopefully you find something that you just love.
Oh, she said runner. The dimensions on the runner as in the pattern is 17 by 48.
Yes. All right. And that is all you have to do. Now, you can get about, if I remember right, you can get about 13 half square triangles from the size we're cutting per strip. So you would have to do, with your background and your pole, 2 of these, because you need twice as many background and your twister fabric as you do pole and your twister fabric. And this is how it works. So I am going to take my tube that I just sewed together. So we did a 1/4 inch on both sides, which leaves that center open like a tube. And I'm going to lay it on my cutting mat. And then I am going to, if you look at the strip tube ruler, maybe it's easier on this one.
Zoom in a little bit here.
You'll see that there are lines. So here's a 1 inch, 1.5 is a dotted line, 2 inch, 2.5 is a dotted line, 3 inch. Whatever size you want your half square triangle to be, you lay the line of that size. So if you want a 2 inch half square triangle, you lay that 2 inch line on your sewing line, on that line that you just sewed, your 1/4 inch line, not on your edge of your fabric, but on your sewing line. So I'm going to lay my half square triangle on my sewing line with the size that I want it to be. So I'm just going to lay my size right on that line. Now I'm going to cut up and cut down. This I'm going to throw away and cut down the other side. And when I open that up, I have a half square triangle. You can do that all the way up to 9 inches if you have the big one. Then if you want to, you can turn this over to where the V is looking at you. Lay this on that line again, on that same line for that same size. And you can cut off your dog ears. Now when you open up your square, you have a perfect half square triangle with no dog ears. The exact size. You don't have to square it up. You don't have to do anything else to it. You're good to go. And you can get, depending on what size, this one I can get 13 half square triangles on this one tube. Now when I go to do my second half square triangle, I am just going to flip this tube over to the other side. Now when I lay my strip tube ruler on that line again, see, I already have that edge, but I don't want to use that edge as my one. I want to always cut fresh, but I'm going to come clear over where I can just cut a little bit off, lining up my line again, cut up. Now I just have that little bit extra, cut down, flip it towards me, line it up again, and cut off. And see, I already have that dog ear cut off. It's already gone. I just have to cut off the other one. And I have another half square triangle. So I'm just going to, you would just, if you're doing the whole thing, you're just going to continue. Flip it over again, line it up on that line, not clear to the edge. You want to leave just a little because you want a fresh cut. You're going to cut that off. You're going to cut down the other side. I'm going to flip it towards me. Line up that line again and cut off my one dog ear. There's my half square triangles.
Lori, I think the benefit of the fresh start is that way you know you are going to be exactly there.
Yes.
If you're trying to guess where you are, you could be off by a fraction of an inch, and it could throw your size of your half square triangle off.
Right. And if you try to go clear over to the edge, sometimes we're not right on when we cut. And there is just a little tiny bit, and maybe it's not quite straight. So it's just always best to line it up and get a fresh cut. So you're going to do that whole strip, and then you're going to come and get your other strip. So this one is our pole and our twister fabric. I'm going to do the same thing to our background and our twister fabric. So I'm just gonna do the same thing. Lay it down, make that first cut of what size I want on my stitching line. Cut up, cut down, turn it towards me, and cut off those dog ears.
Sherry said she didn't know that trick about the dog ears.
Isn't that clever?
Deborah says that if you ever come across a bag or something to transport rulers, that'd be a great project.
Okay, very good.
Sherry says she thinks Annie's has a ruler bag to make.
Oh yes, I think they do. And then, okay, let me point out something more. So look at here, I'm not quite even when I put my strips together. Sometimes, you know, they get a little wobbly. It doesn't matter. You do not have to be lined up perfect. You are just cutting from your stitching line. So this is just in your in your seam allowance. It's not going to make any difference whatsoever if you didn't get those lined up perfect.
April was wondering, when you flip to cut the dog ears, you put the sew line again on the right number.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
You line it up again on the number with your seam. Yes.
Mary says, Amy, you're an excellent teacher.
Oh, thank you.
Peggy says, if the pattern asks for 2.5-inch strips, do you cut the strip that size, or do you have to add any more for the strip?
Actually, you can take it away. So if you do if you want a 4-inch half square triangle, you can actually cut your strips at 3.5. If you want a 3.5, you can actually cut your strip at 3. You can actually do less of cutting or of the measurement.
Is that in the
directions? I will send that sheet that has the directions of what size to cut your strip for what half square triangle you want and how many you get per strip, so you can plan your design.
Terrell says, wouldn't a rotating mat work good for this ruler?
Why, yes, it would. Yep, if you don't like reaching around and doing that, absolutely.
And Debbie says, can you flip the ruler instead of the fabric?
It's easier to flip the fabric. So let me show you. So here I just cut that piece off. If I was to do my ruler, which you could, I could line it up, but then I really would have to switch my mat because I can't cut that way. So it is easier to flip your fabric and then cut the same way. I'm just going to do one more here of that, and I'm going to show you how to put your row together. So I'm just making a little cut. Cut the other way, flip it over to me, and line up on that same line, and cut off my one dog ear.
Okay. All right. Barb says, when lining up, are you putting it on the finished size or the finished size plus seam allowances?
No, I am lining up my line on here with my sewing line. So here's my 1/4-inch seam, so my seam line where I sewed. That stitching line is going on the line of how big I want it. Does that make sense? Now here's your next trick. On this table runner, when you go to press these, and I should warm up my iron before I do this. So you notice this half square triangle is background and flowers. And this half square triangle is pole and flowers. Press everything towards the flowers. So, or press it towards your background and your pole. So to make it easier, whatever fabric is going around your pole, press all your half square triangles to that. Then your seams will nest when you go to put it together. So I'm just going to press these all towards my flowers, whether it has the background or whether it has the pole. And then that will help your seams match.
And here at the end, we are also going to mention about the next Wednesday sew along. The Fabulous is what we're going to be doing. We do have the pre-sale going on that. So Amy will go through that here after we've wrapped everything up on this today. But all of that is in our comment sold store today.
Yeah.
So you can get the pattern for $32. You can get the whole fabric kit. It does not include the pattern, but the fabric kit, it's going to give you the different colors that are involved with it, the black and white background for $225. You can get just the grunges, just the colors themselves for $125. Or maybe you just want the whites and blacks and gonna fill in your own colors. That's $100. And there's nothing to say that you can't do it scrappy or with things that you have. And but any of them, any of those options, you do need to purchase the pattern separately for $32.
All right, so I pressed everything towards my flowers, and now we will put our row together. So I want my flowers going towards me. See, they're just half square triangles. Then I grab one with my pole, and then I grab another one with my background. And I'm just gonna sew those together. And because I press them all towards my flowers, my seams nest when I go to do this. So let's just sew those together.
Janice, yes, we do. I'm not sure if it is that brand of gloves to protect your hands from in the rotary cutters, and I'm not sure that we have any in the store currently.
Fons and Porter used to make them, but I have not been able, I don't know if they quit making them, but I have not been able to get them as of late. So I'm not sure. We don't have any currently.
Good morning, Virginia. And if I've missed anybody this morning, good morning one and all.
So here is my row. And because I pressed them all towards the flowers, my seams nested when I got to the end. Now, if you notice, let me just make one more. And I think I'm gonna have to cut another background one. So I can do that quick.
Steve's wondering, what do the cutting tips come with, the pattern or ruler?
With the pattern. In the ruler, it does give you information too, and also a website that you can go to print that off, but I will include it with the pattern. All right, I'm just gonna press this one towards the flowers. And I'm gonna make one more. Now, you can make them all exactly the same. So one goes this way, one goes this way, but they're the same thing. So I'm gonna make another row exactly like my first one. You're making them all exactly the same. So I'm gonna lay it out the exact same way. So you don't have to lay out your table runner and pick them up I just like sewing and getting them done so they're all exactly the same. So I'm making it exactly like that, sewing it the exact same way.
So yes, Barb, if you wanted a 2-inch finished square, you're lining it up on the 2-inch line from the stitch line.
At the stitch line. You are lining up your stitch line with the 2-inch line on the ruler. Yes.
morning. Judy? Beth Ann says, if you're going to start to get just one ruler, which one would be the best to start with?
If you get the large one, you wouldn't need the small one too. You could do any size with the large one.
The only reason with the small one is sometimes it's not quite as big, so it's not as cumbersome sometimes.
Right. Okay, so I've made 2. They're exactly the same. You're gonna make all, and how many are in here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And you're gonna make, if you want it this size, you're gonna make 14, all exactly the same. And then you know what? You're gonna press them all exactly the same. So I would make all 14, put them in a pile. You're gonna take them to your iron, and I'm gonna press all my seams going to my left on all of them. It's almost magic how this works. So I'm just gonna press my seams to the left. And I'm gonna take this one, press my seams to the left. So you can press them all the same way, sew them all the same way.
Peggy's wondering how long it takes to get the ruler. She's in Florida.
They'll start going out this next week.
And then it's I can't say for sure how long shipping takes. It would probably approximately a week to get down to Florida.
Yeah.
We would hope in 3 to 4 days, but we cannot promise that.
Right. All right. So you've made all your rows exactly the same. You've pressed them exactly the same. Now, here's the magic. Here's my first one. I take my second one and I just flip it over. Now, my seams are going the different ways, so they nest. And here's how you get your pole. So when you go to put these 2 together, your seams are nesting, and you can just sew those right together. So you can do them all if you want. I did 2, 2, 2, 2, sew them all, and then take them apart and then re-sew them. I love this. It's almost like magic. You do them all exactly the same. You press them all exactly the same. And when you flip them to make the design, they automatically nest for you. So you see how that worked? Here is the first one. Then I just flipped it for the second one, flip it again, and they're just rotate. One goes this way, one goes that way. And when you put them together, it creates that twister pole. And you put all of those together. You're gonna put your first border on, your second border on, quilt it as you want, and you're good to go. Isn't that fun? So easy. I love how everything gets sewed the same. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to lay it out. I just do it and press them all the same way.
Kathy, the directions for the table runner are going to make it at about 17 by 48.
Yep.
But yes, you can subtract them off to make a little
shorter
a throw if you wanted, or add, make them wider. You can do anything like that.
All right, then, I had somewhere a background piece. I was going to show you how to, Randy, will you run up front and look and see if I have a 4.5 inch piece of background fabric cut somewhere? I left it somewhere.
What would it have been?
Cream color. All right. So when you're doing a quilt pattern like this, like the ideal cut, you can use your strip tube ruler. And how I'm going to do that is I have 4 2.5 inch strips from a jelly roll. I just cut them in half at the fold. so you end up with twice as many. And I'm going to sew these two together, just together, not a tube. I'm just doing a 1/4 inch. Oh, thank you. I did just leave it on the table. Then I'm going to sew these two together, my regular 1/4 inch, and then I'll show you how fun this is. So I'm taking these two and I am just going to sew these together on one side, my normal 1/4 inch seam. Then I'm going to sew these two together, my normal 1/4 inch seam. And these are just 2.5 inch strips from a jelly roll. I have just cut them apart at the fold, so you end up with twice as many strips as what you started with.
Catherine, I'm assuming you're meaning your creative 4.5. If you've got a I don't know if they even make a creative 2.5, but I'm assuming you're talking about the 4.5. That was probably just a typo there.
All right, so now I'm going to just take these and press them open.
Sharon's wondering, any update on the Christmas cheer pattern?
We are expecting it any day. It was sent out last week from the designer. I'm going to check the mailbox again this morning. It should be in here any day. As soon as we get it, those will go right out.
Deb says you're pole dancing this morning.
I am pole dancing. All right, so I took 2 strips from a jelly roll, sewed them together, 2 more strips. Now, if we take these and put them together, and now I sew a 1/4 inch down this side and a 1/4 inch down this side and make a tube, just like what we did before.
Mary, if you ordered last night, we have a 24-hour policy, so if you ordered yesterday and you complete your order today, within that 24 hours, it will automatically go on to the same shipping. It will not charge you any extra.
Right. If you met your shipping obligation yesterday, there's no shipping today.
Yes.
Okay, now I'm going to do a 1/4 inch down the other side. This is fun, and you can do an entire quilt like this. This is like the ideal cut.
And Debbie says she was stripping yesterday.
So yesterday I was stripping, today I'm pole dancing. I am not a very good influence on you, am I? So I sewed them on both sides. Here's my tube. I'm going to take my strip tube ruler. Now, because I make it as big as I can, but I have to keep it within my seam allowance, I'm going to lay this 5.5 inch line on my sewing line. I'm going to cut up and cut down. I'm going to turn it towards me, lay that 5.5 inch line on there again, and cut off my dog ears. Look at that. Isn't that cute? So now we have a strip piece block that didn't take you anything to do. But hold on, there's more. what if you took 2 strips? We're going to sew them together. Whoops. Let me cut this one in half because I don't need the whole thing. So I'm going to sew these 2 together. Right sides together, just down one side with my 1/4 inch seam.
Reminder again today, shipping is $5 flat rate, and you only need to get to $25 to get to free shipping today. So it's a great time to maybe add something to your order. If
I'm going to press this open.
Brenda's wondering, was that the bigger strip tube ruler this time?
No, I just still use that small one. I did a 5.5 inch square, and that's pretty much as big as you can do. On that, you can do up to a 6. So if you had the bigger one, you could even do it bigger. Then I'm going to take my background, and I'm only going to do half, so I'm just going to cut it apart at the fold. So now I'm going to take my background and my 2 strips, put them together, right sides together, and I'm going to sew a 1/4 inch down both sides again.
Yeah. As Amy's doing that, I'm going to get my little plug in for Pfaff sewing and embroidery machines. If we can help you out with that, we'd certainly love to do that. We can have those shipped direct to your door, and you can start enjoying that IDT system, the built-in walking foot. It makes life a lot easier when you're sewing with that. So Grace Company long arms and frames, we can set you up with that. Horn tables, just like Amy is sewing on. There's several different models and sizes. So another thing that comes pre-assembled to your door, so there's no scratching.
It even has the rollers on the bottom. Everything is there.
And we do have some previously loved machines in the store. We've got a Quilt Expression 710. We've got a Creative 4.5 sewing and embroidery machine.
See how I made a tube? So we have the 2 strips on one side, the background on one side. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take my strip tube ruler. This is the junior. I can go up to 5.5 inches because I don't want my peak to get into my other seam line. So I'm going to lay my 5.5 inch on that line. I'm going to cut up and cut down. Flip it over and cut off my my dog ears.
Yes, Carol, we will show that pattern a little closer when we
Yep.
wrap things up here today. April says you need an assistant named Anita this morning. Sometimes that assistant named Anita, the 2 get talking, so I don't know if that would speed it up or not.
Look at that. So now we have 2 strips on one side and our background on the other, which is exactly all you do to make this quilt. It is so cute and easy.
I'm going to just zoom into it now when
Yep.
you're holding it there.
So that is all this is you're doing some of these blocks, and where did my other block go? And you're doing some of these blocks, and you're making an entire quilt. So easy with the strip tube ruler. All right, and that's what we did this morning. Isn't that fun? I love doing these projects. So we did our twister pole table runner. It is 17 inches by 48. You can always make it shorter if you don't need it that long. We have the pattern. The pattern is $5.99. Whoop. And I'm going to show you, in the pattern, it will tell you sizes to cut your strips, what size to cut your half square triangles, what size to cut your borders, everything you need to put that together for $5.99. It's called Pole Twister Table Runner Pattern. Then we do have some fabric bundles. If you want to do yours like mine, here it's the fabric for the hearts. So background, pole, twister, borders. $19.99 for all the fabric you need to make the table runner. This one is sold 101 hearts. We have a purple one, purple background, pole, borders binding. $19.99, sold 101 purple. We have this really cute green one, so if you want the seasonal, this is great to make for the summertime. Background, border, pole, twister, binding, sold 101 green. The one that I did, so this one with the greens, so you've got, I use the green for the pole, this is the twister background, and I'm going to use this as my border. Sold 101 daisy, because it has those little daisies in it. And then our last one is flowers. I'm thinking you do the pole in the pink or the green, and then you put this on as your border, but you can do it however you want. Maybe you want the pole and that. $19.99, sold 101 flowers. Then if you need some strip tube ruler, we have the strip tube junior. This is the one I was using. Can cut up to a 6-inch half square triangle. It's $25.95, sold 102. We have the strip tube, the regular strip tube ruler. This will cut up to a 9-inch half square triangle. It's $28.95, sold 103. If you need some new blades, because it really does work better if you have nice sharp blades, we have 2 different kinds. We have a 3-pack of titaniums on special for $19.99. They're a 45mm titanium, lasts a little bit longer than your others, for sold 104. Or we have a 5-pack of Quilter Select replacement blades. They're the normal 45mm, $19.99, sold 105. And if you like that pattern and you want to use your strip tube ruler to make this one, which is super cute, $9 for the ideal cut pattern, sold 106. All right, and reminder, we're starting a new sew along on February 4th. This is the pattern we're doing. It's called Fabulous. In our comment sold store, you can find your pattern. We have 3 different ways you can get the fabric bundle, or you can use your own fabric and sew along with me with just to buy the pattern. We have, if you want the entire quilt kit, it's $225. Just the grunge colors that we're using are, how much are those? $125?
$125, yes.
Or the blacks and the whites is $100 for the background fabrics. So you can get whatever you want, whether it be just the pattern or the entire kit. Sew along with me starting February 4th.
And just wanted to make sure I haven't missed any questions. April, there are a ton of strip tube patterns, especially by Cozy Quilt Designs makes a lot of them.
And we have quite a few of them in our comment sold store.
But she would like for you to demo more of those.
Sure, absolutely.
Marge says, great show. Make sure I haven't missed any other comments here or questions before. And I certainly do hope that if you are watching and maybe you're not after we've gone off the air here, please, if you have a question or a concern, contact us here at the store, 712-393-7979, because we're not always able to catch all your questions on Facebook, so we would love to be able to visit with you and answer anything that you might have questions about.
Absolutely.
And the couple of Elaine and Catherine, we will put those things in your cart here shortly, so you can check out with those in there. So
have a wonderful weekend, and Randy and I will see you on Monday afternoon at 5 o'clock for Happy Hour with the Healy's.
All right, take care, everybody.
Bye.